Hello, grade 4. This is part 2, lesson 7, civilization in the Middle East. So try to concentrate together, please. The first point in our lesson, the city-states. The city-states. Many city-states were built over the years. Many city-states were built over the years, and the biggest city-states were Eridu and Ur. Eridu and Ur. So if I ask you what are the biggest city-states in the civilization of Sumer, you can tell me Eridu and Ur. Eridu and Ur. Okay? Each city-state had its own ruler. Each city-state had its own ruler, and this ruler was also the high priest of the city. High priest of the city. So each city-state had its own ruler. Each city-state had its own god and a large temple in the center of the city. So if I ask you, each city-state contains what? Each city-state contains or had its own ruler and its own god. Its own ruler, and he was also the high priest of the city, and its own god and a large temple, and this temple exists where in the center of the city. These temples were called zagrets. These temples were called zagrets. Zagrets. Say it together. Zagrets. Zagrets. Okay, so each city-state had its own ruler, who was also the high priest of the city. And each city-state had its own god and a large temple in the center of the city. And these temples were called what? Were called zagrets. Zagrets, okay? The Sumerians created a unique writing system. The Sumerian created a lot of things. One of these things, number one, unique writing system. The Sumerians created. I can ask you, the Sumerian created what? Number one, unique writing system. Number two, numerical system. Numerical system. Numerical related to numbers. Number system. Okay, numerical relating to number system that we still see today, or we still use today. So the Sumerians created unique writing system. Number two, numerical system. And the last one, they created irrigation system. And the irrigation means watering system or irrigation system to control the water of farmland. So the Sumerian created a lot of things. These things are unique writing system, numerical system, and number three, irrigation system. Number three, irrigation system. And the irrigation system used to control what? To control the water of farmland. To control the water of farmland. The Sumerian were excellent business people. The Sumerian were excellent business people who traveled widely from timber. Timber means wood, gold, and gemstones. So the Sumerian were excellent business people. And they traveled widely for what? They traveled for timber, gold, and gemstones. Okay, they traveled to get timber, to get gold, and to find gemstones. Okay, so the Sumerian were excellent business people, and they traveled widely to look for timber, look for gold, look for gemstones. Okay. The last point in our lesson, what are the differences between the Egyptian and Sumerian civilizations? What are the differences between the Egyptian and Sumerian civilizations? Number one, differences in location. Egyptian civilization development was along the Nile Valley. The Egyptian development was along the Nile Valley, but Sumerian development was along the Tigris and Euphrates rivers in Iraq. So the location of the Egyptian civilization along the Nile Valley, but the location of the development of Sumerian civilization was along the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. The time in Egyptian civilization developed around 3150 BCE, but the Sumerian civilization developed gradually between 5500 and 4000 BCE. Okay? Don't concentrate on these dates. Leave these dates, but try to know them only. Okay? Religion. The religion in the Egyptian civilization, they worshipped more gods. They worshipped more gods than Sumerians and considered their ruler Pharaoh as a god on earth. So in the Egyptian civilization, they worshipped more gods than Sumerians and considered their ruler Pharaoh. They called the ruler Pharaoh, okay, as a god on earth. They considered the Pharaoh as a god on earth. But religion in Sumerian civilization, they didn't consider their ruler to be a god. They didn't consider their ruler to be a god on earth. So who considered his ruler as a god on earth? Sumerian or Egyptian? Egyptian people considered their ruler Pharaoh as a god on earth. The last difference, writing techniques. They used in Egyptian civilization, they used papyrus to write. Papyrus means material made from plant. Papyrus, say it together, papyrus, material made from plant, and hieroglyphics. So the Egyptian used papyrus and hieroglyphics for writing, but Sumerian used clay. Clay means mud. Clay tables for writing. The Sumerian used the clay tables for writing and invented the cuneiform system, okay? And the cuneiform means having the form of a wedge. Cuneiform means having the form of a wedge, okay, for writing it. So the Sumerian used the clay tables for writing and invented the cuneiform. Means having the form of a wedge system, okay? Wedge system like symbols, and they used these symbols for writing, okay? Thank you guys and goodbye.